Hey everybody, who's your Jedi here with another review for you, this time talking episode 14 of season 2 of Legends of Tomorrow called Moonshot. And all in all, I thought this was a pretty solid episode. Let's just kind of get right into some things. One kind of thing that I didn't like about this episode was the whole bit with Martin and Mick singing that old Harry Belafonte song. I mean, that song, people singing that song was hilarious in Beetlejuice, but here it's one of those moments where it's just like, okay, I feel embarrassed just watching this. I even like literally skipped ahead a little bit just so like I can't take this anymore. This is just too embarrassing. I mean, the whole thing of like, oh, it's a British tradition, sir. Okay, I'll give him that one. That was cute, but still, it's just oh my. Um, speaking, let's just kind of go on to some other stuff, other nice stuff. This is another one of those episodes I think where pretty much everybody kind of had some nice moments. Like Sarah and Rip had some really great scenes together. Rip even saying, like, you know what, you turned out to be a better captain than I ever did, which I think Rip is selling himself rather short. But given what's happened lately, it's understandable that he would have a little bit of damage to the old self-esteem. And despite some bumps, in all fairness, Sarah has done a pretty good job as captain of the Wave Rider. And you can tell that Sarah is very pleased by this. I mean, saying something like that, I mean, she understands this is about as high a compliment as Rip Hunter has to offer. And I like how she kind of turns it around on him. It's like, oh, so you're a misfit and an outcast. You don't know where you fit in. Sounds like you're a legend. It's just basically like, look, you still have a place here. Which, I mean, yeah, that was good. That was some real good captaining on Sarah's part. So yeah, very nice stuff there. The whole thing with Nate and Amaya's relationship, with Nate kind of at this point sort of saying, like, you know what, Ray's right, we really don't have a future together. And, obviously I think him kind of spelling it out to Amaya is like, hey, why don't you go and check about what your future holds? I think that's just sort of him sort of lashing out at destiny. We really have strong feelings for this woman. And the idea that history is something that basically is like adherence to history is what's keeping them apart, it's understandable that he would have some resentment. And from Nate's perspective, Amaya does have the right to know what her future holds. And, Gideon is right to caution her. It's like, you probably really should not find out about this. But she, of course, does because that's interesting. So we'll see what transpires from all of that. And again, this does sort of highlight a problem on the show that, again, with like what happens with Nate and his grandfather, that the legends, even though they're good guys, still constantly give into this temptation to try and change history for their own personal benefit, which kind of reminds you that they do at times sometimes walk a rather thin line. The Legion is trying to change reality for their own benefit. And pretty much everybody on the team has at one point tried to monkey with history for their own benefit. So, it's one of those lessons that they never seem to learn. But again, if they stop doing that, things get less interesting. And in all fairness, I mean, if you did have that sort of power to travel through time, it would be enormously tempting to try and change history for your own benefit, or to alter history in ways that you think would make the world better, to try and literally create history in your own image. So that temptation being there, and being a constant one, I think I'm a little more willing to be a little bit more forgiving on the characters never learn to stop doing this stupid thing. And that stuff with Nate and his grandfather was all really good stuff. I mean, Commander Steel, I think they did a much better job fleshing him out as a person than they did Stargirl. Certainly better than they did Doctor Midnight. Obsidian, in all fairness, I mean, he really only got that one episode, but Lance Henriksen, come on. So, yeah, I mean, what was going to happen to Commander Steel by the end of it? I mean, obvious, we were going to see that. That, he had to be killed off because, you're not going to kill off one of the main characters at this point this season. But still, there was definitely some good interaction. I love that bit where he punches Rip, and it's doubly hilarious if you realize that this is basically a copy of a scene from Indiana Jones and The Last Crusade, a series that Steven Spielberg and a fellow by the name of George Lucas have some small connection to. And that scene with Nate and his dad, just trying to offer his father a little bit of comfort, a little bit of decent life advice. I mean, again, Nate's monkeying with history, but it's kind of hard to really come down on it too hard for that one. He's just offering a little bit of human understanding to a teenage kid who's had it tough. I mean, one of my all-time favorite moments from the Flash comics is a story where Wally West goes back in time and visits a family reunion from when he was a kid, and kind of just offers some comfort, and it's like to his younger self, and basically says like, look, I mean, I know your life is tough right now, but hang in there, it'll be okay. I mean, I'm sure we all have a point in our lives where we could go back in time and just sort of do that for ourselves. Just say like, hey, hang in there, it's gonna work out. I mean, last year was for me a really, really crummy year. I got laid off from 2 different jobs. Just everywhere I turned, stuff seemed to be going wrong. And now I've got a new job. I led quite a bit. I'm back living in Japan, and all those things that happened to me last year, all those losses and nights of uncertainty, worrying about the future. I mean, each and every one of those was a little domino falling that pushed me to be where I am right now. And things are definitely looking up, and I'm a much happier person than I was last year. So, let's see. What else do we need to talk about? Nothing particular to say about Jax this episode. Although we do need to take a moment to remember that the fellow that plays him is actually British, so not surprising that his British accent is surprisingly better than Martin Stein's. Not to take anything away from Victor Garber, but clearly British accents are either not his strongest suit, or he was definitely playing up the fact that Stein probably couldn't do a passable British accent very well. Anyway, what I really liked this episode, though, was sort of Ray's interactions with Eobard Vaughn, who apparently murdered one of the crew of Apollo 13. Jeez, what a bastard. And what's interesting is that Vaughn does make some valid points that in a lot of ways he and Ray are really not that different. I mean, they're both scientists. They're both people who have chosen to lead extraordinary lives, who just did not want to be ordinary people. And Ray, unsurprisingly is like, look, trying the whole we're not so different stuff on me isn't going to work. You're an evil murderer. Screw off. And, points to Ray for that. On the other hand, Vaughn does make some valid point. The valid point is like, oh, really? We're not so different, huh? You could have used that dwarf star majig to, power a city. Instead, you made yourself a little super suit so you could fly around and punch people in the face. So, yeah, Ray is a good person, and he has done tremendous good with the Atom suit. But if he directed his knowledge and skills towards, clean energy, he probably could have done, in terms of net positive, more good for the world. In fact, this is basically, if you're familiar with one of my favorite comic book series of all time that I've repeatedly talked about on my reviews, Starman. And this is basically the argument that the son of the original Starman gives to his father. He said, like, hey, you created this technology that creates energy, power from just cosmic energy, which is just floating around in the universe. You could have solved the world's energy crisis. Instead, you decided to fly around the city in a get-up, punching bank robbers in the face. Now, again, this particular son has taken up the mantle of Starman, so he's not just being a complete butt here. And he does point out to his father and basically says to him, like, look, I'll tell you what, I'll continue to be Starman. I'll protect the city, but I want you to, and now that you're old, for lack of a more polite term, I want you to dedicate your time to science, to doing good in the world for everybody, not just catching muggers and whatnot. And his father agrees. And it's actually heavily implied that he makes scientific breakthroughs that ultimately are major contributors to the Legion of Superheroes future becoming the official future of the DC universe. I think it's even been mentioned that he was considered an enormously influential scientist by the time of the Legion. I can't quite remember. But Thawne's point does still stand. I mean, Ray is doing good, but he is doing good in a way that lets him live the life he's always dreamed of. So, Ray's goodness is not entirely 100% altruistic, but then very few things in life are. Ray gets to do good and help the world, and he also gets to live the life he's always dreamed of. I don't think that's an unreasonable trade, but it is still valid to point out, like, Ray, you probably could be doing more with your genius than you are now. And I do like how, by the end of the episode, Ray basically does ultimately triumph over Thawne. I mean, sure, Thawne could escape, and him mentioning, like, oh, I invented those anti-speedster weapons. Again, harkening back to that, okay, he's got some sort of a history with Rip Hunter that we saw at the end of Season 1 of Flash, which we really, too, need to get expanded on at some point. But he does point out, it's like, okay, now I know why you're doing all this crap with the Spear of Destiny. I know there's something out there that scares the living hell out of you, and that you can't triumph against. And I also know that you're not going to stick around on the ship long enough to do anything, because you've been here long enough that you know that thing is on its way. And I do like that you can kind of tell that Thawne has realized, like, you know what? I underestimated this guy. So, so Ray has clearly gone up a notch in Thawne's book. And the thing, though, that is interesting is he kind of mentions, like, oh, yeah, I miss, hanging out with other scientists like Cisco and Caitlin. Now, look, maybe I'm getting something confused here, but isn't this version of Thawne supposed to be from a time before he met the two of them? So either the writers screwed up, or I'm thinking this Thawne might have done research on the version of him that got erased from history, knows that Ray was positively inclined towards Caitlin and Cisco, and is saying that it's just sort of a way to sort of kind of jam that whole, hey, we're both fellow scientists here, thing home a little further, which is exactly the kind of crap he would do. See, this is why, out of everybody in the Legion of Doom, Thawne is my favorite. I mean, They're all horrible, horrible people. But Thawne is just such a bastard about it. He really, really loves to just really make it personal. So yeah. With that said, guys, I'm going to call it here. As always, please comment, rate, and subscribe. Of course, you can follow me on Twitter at Who's Your Jedi, and please also join me on Tumblr at Jedi Reviewer. Until next time, take care. Have a good one.